Nah. Fire Spirit Bracelet was obtained. How to use Bracelet. I'll show that off, thank you. Essentially, switch the bracelet. You can hold down a magic button. Once it charges up, blam! Blam, 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 blam. You can also fire them off rapidly. Your MP meter will never drain permanently, which is definitely cool. As you can see in the bottom left corner, it will slowly refill. But it does take a little bit to refill from the very bottom, so it's best to use it sparingly. You can get gems for it, as indicated by our equipment section. Those little 3 things over there, adorned with ruby to symbolize fire. Grants the wearer the ability to shoot fireballs. Once we get more of those, we'll be able to shoot fireballs better, get our magic back quicker, etc. Be much cooler, and we'll get one shortly, so we'll show it off. Oh, a map to Felghana, detailed map. This lets you know where everything is, so you don't get lost. Also lets us know where we'll be going throughout the game. Redmont Town, Tigary Quarry, the Ilburns Ruins, the Eldurm Mountains, Valestein Castle, and Genos Island, all within Felghana. And, of course, we also have the storehouse key. A simple iron key can be used to open the storehouse door in the quarry. Nothing really all that fancy there. So, it's back into the section where we found Dewey. Won't be a whole lot different, so I may speed through this section just because it's really not all that important that you see every single time I fight the same enemy over again. But so far this run's actually going pretty well. Not that this game's too terribly hard yet. I mean, if I get that frame skip against some bosses, I may run into some problems. But if I get that, then worst case scenario, the PSP version doesn't seem to have any frame skip problems, so if I need to, I can always resort to restarting the LP from that. But I'd really rather keep the picture quality up. As you can see, early on... Well, actually, you know what? Let's use some magic against some enemies here. As you can see, it does better damage than my normal attack, but it consumes mana, and, well, it's just easier to aim your melee attack. So I don't use the fire magic too terribly much. There are 2 other magics, though, and those get a whole lot more use. You'll see why when we get them. Using one of them too much is kind of broken, and the other, well, let's be perfectly honest, using them right, it's not broken because, well, you have to know how to use them right. Using them wrong, you just end up looking like an absolute moron. So, no harm, no foul. So, let's see here, we're almost back to Dewey, just one more room. I'd like to keep my XP boost through. That is one good thing about the fire magic, by the way. If you're about to lose your boost, but you're close to any enemy, you can just fire a good little fire blast at them, and keep your fire boost. You'll also notice I haven't gotten any Revolve except for the Revolve from the chest. That's how it's going to remain. Oh, that's the bracelet we unearthed a while ago. It's really old, and it didn't look all that valuable, but we had the feeling it had some kind of power to it. Using that might make you a match for the monsters in the lower levels. With that bracelet, you could probably do something about the monsters further down. I hope you can rescue the mayor. So do I. So we're just going to charge this up. So it's ready. I recommend, by the way, if you decide to play this game, no matter which version you're playing, set bracelet arts to your shoulder button. Just because you're going to want to be firing it off rather well, and you're going to want to have it charged at all times. So there's no point in not having it charged up. As you can see, I have it charged up right now. Just because when I do encounter the enemies that really need you to use it, well, okay, they don't need you to use it, but if you don't use it, you're to suffer for it. Because they take about 20, 30 hits to kill normally, and they don't do, like, murderous damage to you, but they do enough. Now, we really can't jump across that yet. The boost trick probably could get us across, but I consider that a glitch. And not really the kind that makes me feel all that smart for exploiting it. More like some developer didn't examine things quite closely enough. And that is what I was talking about. They take about 48 damage from fire, which is good, because they have a fair amount of health, and you do 2 damage to them otherwise. We'll grab their names as soon as we have this area cleared of them. They remind me of Omu from Warriors of the Wind, a anime, or Valley of the Wind, I'm sorry, Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind. I first saw it as the HBO version, The Warriors of the Wind, which is... well, I enjoyed it as a kid, but supposedly it's horrible. I haven't been able to find a second version of it, my old VHS died years ago. So let's check out what that monster is called. A Mozak. A large beetle which lives in the quarry. Its hard exoskeleton deflects sword strikes with remarkable effectiveness. On the other hand, it is extremely vulnerable to fire. Interesting. Its HP is 113, so it would take quite a few hits to kill with your sword. So just trust me on that one. Really not worth the effort of even trying. As you can see, that's really just not worth it at this point. I'm not under-leveled at all. In fact, I think I'm just exactly where the game would expect me to be. So the fact that I have trouble even trying to face them like that is a sign. Do want to be careful about trying to jump right into a monster's face. They don't tend to like that. Also, if you haven't noticed, you can use the sword slashes to extend your jumps. They keep you in the air longer, they help you dodge enemies, all around a good thing. Also, now that I have MP, those boosts that help your MP restore faster will finally be useful. I'm sure you've also noticed these guys actually draw up larger coins. Ow! And they're pretty nasty. I really don't know how you could get past them without using the bracelet, at least a little. I know that Erica has proven that it is possible to kill them without using the bracelet at all, and you know, just for the sake of it, besides the fact that it'll grind me up some experience to do so, I'll show that it is possible. Probably not all that exciting to watch me deal 113 damage 1 HP at a time, but as you can see, it is perfectly possible, and I could do it, but it would make this game very monotonous, and very stupid if it insisted that you do it that way. But hey, got me up to 199 for the experience boost, so I'm not going to complain too much, but I'm not going to do that ever again, now that I've done it, and done it on camera no less. At least as long as it's recording properly, which it is. Okay. Just gotta be careful about those guys. Luckily, they do have a very telltale animation for when they're about to attack. Doesn't mean I'm always gonna dodge it, but it does mean I should always dodge it. You could take that to mean what you will. Hopefully you'll take it to mean that I'm usually good, but not always. Here is our first little puzzle. You can miss it very easily if you're not paying attention. Here's the treasure box. How did we get the treasure box? Yay! And we got a ruby, a ruby was obtained. Now that explains how that works. I'll just show you. As you see, it charges up, and then charges to full. Now, I'm just gonna wait for one of these guys to show up. Bam! Yeah, that was pretty much death there for that little sucker. Granted, they are extremely weak to fire, but still, the next boss, you need fire to fight, and I managed to kill her in hard mode without the ruby, because I just forgot where it was. I'm never doing that again. It's very annoying. Very annoying. And there's some more gold. And let's see. Save right here. And some explosions for the heck of it. Unlike in East 2, can't light townspeople on fire. Really for the best, though. Poor Mayor Edgar doesn't look so good. What are you doing in a place like this? Adol introduced himself and explained that he had come to rescue Mayor Edgar. I see. Well, if you're looking for Mayor Edgar, here I am. Adol, was it? I'm very grateful that you came to help me. I managed to make it down here while running away from the monsters, but I took a bad fall and hurt my leg rather badly. I also found some strange ruins just beyond here, which should probably be investigated. I just can't believe this is happening. Adol, I have a favor to ask of you. Could I convince you to check out the ruins for me? Since I've come all this way, I'd hate to have to return home with nothing to show for it. I'm sorry to ask, but please? Even so, why are the tunnels full of monsters all of a sudden? Well, it's strange, but Dewey and his men did find these ancient ruins a few days ago. Plus there's the collapse of the bridge a few months back. Everything's starting to add up! Oh no! So just what is through here? Let's find out. That doesn't look ominous at all. Just bat wings, a nice little bit of water, and glowing! And we have our next boss. So, Elphael, the Azure Queen of Death. How she works, she throws little blades of energy like that, horizontally, and vertically, like that. You can tell by the way she moves her hands. This is all she'll do until you get her under half health. Now, you can't hit her with your sword, but you can hit her with your fire. I suggest using charged up fire attacks, and then small little ones. Try and jump when you attack her, and while you can hit her in the head, hitting her in the bust is generally the best bet, as you'll hit all of her targetable locations, such as her head, her chest, and both of her wings. Not all of the spots do as much damage, but hitting all of them at once will definitely get you more damage overall for your blasts. And since she has a lot more health than you do, 4 times to be exact, with more than me, it's generally a good idea to not try and just, well, share damage back and forth. When we get her down a little bit more, she starts doing this attack, which is her lasers. You want to move way close to her, and then run back. Ow. If you do it wrong, then you screwed up. The whole trick is you're supposed to make her want to attack you close to her, and then, yeah. Good thing is, however, Elphael is now Fail. And we get a treasure! You've now heard the second boss theme. And what's this? This looks pretty and special. Moonstar statue was obtained, oh joy. Not bad, huh? Not bad at all. So, we'll just head on out. Well, what are you doing here? You don't listen very well. I'm fairly certain I handed down the order to close the quarry. If you had just done as you were told, you wouldn't have gotten hurt. Spare me any protests, please. Just do as Lord McGuire asks. I wondered what you were doing, but you're not really working for Count McGuire, are you? Yes, as you can see, I've already become Lord McGuire's devoted knight. Therefore, I'll thank you to keep a respectful tone when you speak to me. Who are you? You look like an outsider. What business have you here? Adol gave his name and stated what had led him here. A friend of Dogi's, you say? Never thought he'd come back. And certainly not now. No matter. Lord McGuire's orders were explicit regarding the closure of the quarry. If you've come to lead this old man out of here, then I suggest you do so now. Well, wait. What about Elena? Or do you even care that she's been searching for you, hoping to find any news about you, something to let her know you're still alive? I simply grew tired of playing nursemaid. She's 17. She should be able to cope without her big brother by now. You should tell her to just forget about me. She might even do it if the suggestion comes from you. So, that is Chester. And speaking of which, it would seem I've forgotten to introduce myself. I'm Chester Stoddard, knight in the service of the Lord of Felghana, His Grace, Count McGuire. Adol, was it? I know you said you're an adventurer, but advise you not to get involved in our business. That is, of course, unless you're eager to die. Rather lovable sort, Edgar. Or, well, not Edgar, but Chester. Rather lovable indeed. But he's got an awesome theme. Count McGuire is the Lord of Felghana. He came from Roman originally, though. He's levied really high taxes and pressured the townsfolk into forced labor from the outset. To top it all off, a few days ago, he ordered us to shut down the quarry. Everyone refused, since he didn't give a reason. To think that Chester would willingly serve a man like that. Plus, he left his little sister behind. We haven't heard a word from him since. Truth be told, I have a hard time believing it even now. What am I supposed to do? Just tell Elena to try and forget about him? No chance! I could never be that cruel to her. No. Yeah, you should be careful of eavesdroppers. Elena, how long have you been listening? I heard that you were back from the quarry and that you were hurt. I thought that I could do something to help, and I overheard you talking. I'm sorry. Elena! But she's gone. It's good to know Chester's alright at least, but this is bittersweet news. Ever since they were orphaned 12 years ago, those two have looked after each other. Up until about 3 years ago, they stayed at my house, and Chester looked after the place all on his own. It seemed good for him. To be honest, I never really knew how to talk to him. Otto, could I persuade you to go and look in on Elena for me? Right now, I think she might find it easier to talk to a relative stranger than to me. Because she's his surrogate father. It just bothers me that you had to fight such a huge creature, to say nothing of the fact that it had that strange statue. What if it's somehow connected to Count McGuire's ordering to shut down the quarry? Otto. And then he just says the same thing over and over again. So let's check out those new enemies. We go to Monster, and we go back. You can see Delarn, a sorcerer who appeared out of the shadows of the storehouse. Since his whole body is covered in bandages, it's impossible to make out his true identity. Upon his defeat, he disappeared once more, saying that he had to report to him, though it is unknown who he meant. And Elfale, the Azure Queen of Death, a blue statue in the depths of the quarry, carved in the shape of a woman. In spite of its beautiful appearance, it attacks Otto with incredible ferocity. It held the Moonstar statue. Which, of course, is great fun. Oh, character. Chester, Elena's older brother by blood, another childhood friend of Dogi. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to wait till I have all the characters completely unlocked, and then we can go through all those as bonus material. Because we have some new things we can do now.